Greetings and welcome to Hexed Encountered. I'm Joe. In this video, we'll be doing a first look at the game Battles in the East, Volume 4. This one covers two battles from 1943 on the Eastern Front, and it follows the first three volumes, which covered 41, 44, and 45. I think 44 was Volume 1, perhaps. I don't remember exactly, so don't hold me to that. But obviously the 1 year missing so far, and I'm assuming there will be a Battles in the East Volume 5 that will cover that. That would be 1942, right? So, as is the case with the first three, the game is designed by Antony Birkett and published by Decision Games. Flip this over. You can see Battles in the East is a series simulating World War II Eastern Front battles. The system rules are an evolution of the SPI Classics Panzergruppe Guderian, Army Group South, and Cobra. Unit integrity bonuses include German divisions and Soviet Corps and vary to show the increasing Soviet cohesion and decreasing German cohesion as the war progresses. HQ units provide higher level combat support and supply advantages to corresponding units in range. BITE, or BITE maybe, also incorporates standard scales, unit size, distance, time for easy comparisons. While the series rules allow players to play many games with the same core rules, the scenario rules add unique situational elements of each battle. Each volume includes two battles from 1 year with two copies of the charts and tables, as well as scenario rules and setup cards for easy reference. We have a one double-sided 22 by 34-inch game board, 440 die-cut 5/8-inch counters, a 16-page system rules booklet, system scenario charts, two sets of scenario rules and setup cards, one scenario display card, one six-sided die, and storage bags. It's a two-player game, but is soloable. Playing time 2 to 4 hours. Map scale is 3 to 5 miles per hex, 5 to 8 kilometers. Counter scale is regiments and division, medium complexity, and high solitaire value. So two battles in here are the Mius River and Vitebsk. And so this is July and August of 43, and is the summer is mainly remembered for the failed German Operation Citadel near Kursk. That is very true. Followed by the advance of the Red Army westward to the end of the year. Often overlooked is the battle on the Mius River after the Kursk offensive. Here the Red Army looked to drive into the German rear, capture Stalino, and prevent orderly withdrawal of Army Group South. Yeah, this one runs July 17th to August 6th. I don't want to read the whole thing. And then Panther Line, November of 43. The summer and early autumn of 43 was a period of steady retreat and defensive line battles for Army Group Center. Often overlooked until recently, these were bloody campaigns. The key strategic cities of Nivelle and Vitebsk were central to the defense of the Panther Line, which is the link between Army Group North and Center. Large Soviet Guards formations were tasked with taking both and breaching the Panther Line defenses. Defending the area was the depleted 3rd Panzer Army, a Panzer Army in name only. OKH recognized the importance, and the only Panzer reserves available were rushed there to steam the Soviet offensive. The battle was fought in awful conditions, impacting coordination and supply logistics. The game runs from the 1st to the 21st of November of 1943. All right, so let's open up the box and see what's inside. Pull the lid off, and we have our promised baggies, our single six-sided die, and the system rules, which is what I always start with. Now, I did do a first look at Battles in the East 3 not that long ago, and the system rules are the same, of course. So we'll go through these relatively quickly. Okay, so as always, table of contents, our credits, components, the introduction, right, which is kind of similar to what we saw on the back of the box. Our game scale, the definitions for rounding and for control, hex control and how you round down or up, as the case may be. Total combat strength in an attack or defense rounds down to a minimum of 1. So that's the rounding rule. Hex control rule. Then you've got your game equipment, just kind of what the map and the counters. And again, it says not every type of counter is present in every scenario. That makes sense. These are series rules, and obviously there was a significant evolution of units as the war progressed. And here here we have our counter example, so we can take a quick look at this. You can see right here, upper left, you've got unit type symbol, the size, the ID, its formation ID, and then down here, attack, defense, and movement. And on the back, you've got last step indicator here in the corner, optional indicator there, and obviously just the reduced stats on there as well. And you can see a blue attack strength in a white box indicates a 1 column to the right combat shift for armor, a red defense strength in a white box accordingly, as you might expect, is an anti-tank combat shift of 1 to the left. Obviously going left benefits the defense, and going right benefits the attacker. We have our unit types here with your NATO symbology. Then we have some markers here, which of course are important. The unit colors, so we do have colors for the various nationalities involved. You've got the Germans, the Hungarians, the Romanians on the Axis side, and the Soviets and the Polish on the Allied side. Unit sizes, that's fairly standard as well. NATO symbology, how you win, how you set up, the sequence of play. So the sequence of play, very straightforward. You have a weather phase, air support, which varies from scenario to scenario, as you would expect. Then after that, the first player will complete phases C through H. So we go from reinforcements to supply. So you have to check your supply status, your initial movement phase, your combat phase, the mechanized movement phase, which again depends on supply. Mechanized movement phase, air phase, and then you go, after both players have completed C through H, you do the next setup for the next game turn. Then, as you would expect, you have detailed explanations of the reinforcements, the supply, out of supply, general supply, attack supply, right? Different types of supply statuses, your zones of control and how that works. Pretty straightforward. Movement rules, restrictions on movement. And again, you've got examples of everything here, how mechanized units move, overrun, and detailed description of that. Again, examples, disengagement, examples, units with 0 movement allowance. Then you have your stacking rules and regimental equivalent. So you have a certain amount of, I guess it's 4.5 regimental brigade equivalents per hex, because you do have battalion, HQ, artillery, or rocket regiment, brigade, or division is a half of a regimental equivalent. So that's where I get the 0.5 there for that. And then you have examples of that, of things that will fit within that limit. Then you have the rules for the divisional or corps integrity. So units from the same organization will get a bit of a bonus for attack or defense, depending if they are, well, as I said, as long as they're in the same organization. Examples of that. And combat rules, you've got an overview, multiple unit, multi-hex combat, your support shifts, the terrain effects, the effects of HQ leaders and column support, air, naval, armor, anti-tank, and specialists. More examples, right? You've got assault and combat engineers, artillery and rockets, concentric attacks, resolution, results, and then your retreat rules and your advance after combat rules. Again, examples. Air support rules, your HQ rules, leaders. There are leaders in this game. Untried units, so unit quality, weather, fortifications, naval rules, bridging units, and on the back, your sequence of play summary. So that is the rules. Now we'll pull out some of our goodies in here. So here you have the some of the player aids. The first one, this is your division and corps integrity bonus chart for the Mius River and Vitebsk. So you can see the unit type, what its bonus is for attack and defense and overrun, and any notes. This works in all terrain. That's not the case in all the games. Your weather, table for Vitebsk, which was fought in the bad weather time of the year, right? So you do have a chance for snow. And then the Vitebsk reinforcements, your air support for the two different scenarios, and your turn record track. All right, now we have identical, as you would expect, for the two scenarios. So this would be for the Mius River. So you have your setup here, where the Germans set up and their reinforcement schedule, emergency reinforcements and optional reinforcements, and then the Soviets, their setup and their reinforcements. Here are the scenario-specific rules for the Mius River, with an intro, setup notes, additional changes to the additions and changes, to the series rules for supply, reinforcement, special units, weather, forts, and your victory conditions. Okay, and then obviously for the Vitebsk, you have a similar thing, 2 copies, one for each player, but we can look at both sides here. Again, setup for the Germans and the Soviets, and then the rules for this one. Again, supply rules, first turn special rule for this one, your Nashorn battalions, your leaders, your weather effects, your fortifications, reinforcements, and your victory conditions. And we've got our system player aid cards, 2 of those, so we can again look at both sides at the same time, essentially. So you have your CRT, right? Pretty straightforward. You have odds-based combat and column shifts, and then a single 6-sided die. Very straightforward. Your CRT result key is down here. It'll tell you what what the results mean. ENG is engaged. Each side must take 1 mandatory step loss and remain in place. No retreat, no advance. Even if the hex is emptied by 1 player's loss. So if you had 1 unit in there and took the step loss and it was its final step, it's out of there. The other side still cannot advance. Split results, eliminations, etc. It's all very straightforward, very familiar. Combat shifts, summary charts, so what gives you shifts and any notes that are applicable for that. Your supply effects charts for your different supply levels, out of supply, general, and attack supply, what that means, how it affects various phases and parts of the game. And then your terrain effects chart, the TEC, the tech, however you want to say it, different terrains, movement costs, defense strength effects, and your effects on supply and zone of control. Okay, we're moving fairly quickly through this one. Now let's look at our counter sheets. There are, looks like 3 or 2.5 really. So these are for the Mius River here. And you can see you've got your game turn marker and some air support. And the brown is obviously markers or Soviet control. On the other side, you have the German side. All right, your weather. You have mud on this side and snow on this side. Then down here, you've got out of supply markers, and then we have some units. You can see 67th Guards and their ratings, 77th Guard, 90th Guard, etc. Then over here we have some Germans, some Kampfgruppers, and some regiments. Okay. And counter artwork by Richard Aguirre. So again, more Mius River here. Again, both sides, there's some leaders. You can see Tolbokin and Zakharov. On the German side, you've got Holit and Hauser. Okay, pretty straightforward, right? You got some SS units down here. Then you have a Romanian unit. And the third sheet, this would be for Vitebsk. Vitebsk is all on 1 sheet, it looks like. So you can see the units here. Different units for the Germans. You can see the Germans don't have much in the way of armor in this one. They do have a little bit, but not that much. All right. Some tigers there. Those are battalions, so not particularly large. Popov and Bagramian, Reinhardt and Hansen on the German side. And of course, they're all double-sided. You can see some of these are one-step units. And you can see that this is last step. So, whoops, I popped one out. Where did it go? Oh, it's hanging on by a thread. There you go. All right. Now let's take a look at the map. So I'm going to pause while I get it set up. Before I do that, I would like to show that it does come in a baggie. It is double-sided. Okay, so this is the Mius River side, and this is oriented in the correct manner. And I will turn it because the format of the map, obviously this is portrait, but it's more shaped kind of like, it is shaped portrait, but because of my camera angle, I can't really show the whole map in this format, so I would turn it, and it would be that way during gameplay as well, only because that's the best way for me to show it. So you have Voronezh over here, fairly large urban area. You can see all of the kind of terrain and everything in here, and the various towns and cities. Now, if we do turn it, you get a better idea of the scale of this. It does stretch all the way to the Sea of Azov here, with Tagamov down here at the bottom, right? And over here, I slide it up. This is Stalino right here. Okay, so this is the area over which that particular battle was fought. And I think we have some setup lines here along the river. Here's the Mius River. Right. And up here we have the Donets up here, fairly large river. So this, as you can see, is the Mius Front or Mius River battle from July, August 1943. You can see the terrain key here makes it nice and easy. So this is the initial front line. That red dashed line up here is the initial front line at the start of the battle. You have your markers for the Soviet supply sources and the Germans as well. So Germans are in here, down here, for example. These are German supply sources right here. The Soviets come in more in the north. They have one right here. And I don't really, oh, and there's one down here in the very south, right there. So obviously north is this way when it's oriented in this manner. Now we flip it over. And this is the bottom, so let's turn it around. Okay, so here, it's nice and noisy. Here is Vitebsk. Okay, so this is the other game. This is further north, the Panther line. So this would be the border between the two army groups, north and center on the German side. Right, here's Velikiye Luki, rather. Neville is right here. You can see a lot of the lakes, the Lovat River, and so on. So this is obviously further north, as we mentioned. So there's some forested area and the lakes and rivers and so on. And again, we do have our starting front line marker here. There are also on this one some fortified hexes. And you do again have your supply sources. The red, that's the Soviets. The black is the Germans. The red lines are roads, and there are some railroads. These gray dashed or hatched lines, I guess, are here as well. And then again, your terrain. So you have swamp and woods, minor and major rivers, lakes, towns, cities, and your Panther line is that fortified line. All right, so if we turn it sideways, you get a better look at the map. So here is the Panther line stretching north, defensive line for the Germans. Here's Vitebsk, right? So we have a line of secondary fortifications around that. It's a 5 victory point city, so obviously important for the Soviets to take. So that is the map. for this. So that is my first look at the game, Battles in the East 4 from Decision Games, designed by Antony Birkett, containing the games or battles Mius River and Vitebsk from the year 1943 on the Eastern Front. So gameplay for this probably next month would be my guess. Just have other things that I need to get from the pipeline here onto the table for some gameplay, some more first looks to do as well. A lot of stuff going on at the moment, but yeah, you'll get some gameplay of this. I may do something actually where I do, since I have the first 4 volumes, just maybe do something that touches on all of them. When I did gameplay for volume 3, I only did 1 battle. I could do the other battle from that one, as well as looking at something from 1, 2, and of course 4. So that will do it. If you have questions, comments, etc., you know where to put them, in the old comment section, and I'll do my best to answer them. If you would consider liking, sharing, and or subscribing, that would be much appreciated by me. And I say that honestly. I do appreciate people helping to spread the word and showing support by being subscribers. But even if you don't subscribe or do any of those other things, hopefully you'll come back and check out some more video in the future. But until then, or until next time at least, I'm Joe. This is the Hexed Encounter channel, and as always, happy gaming.